Coming up, Prime Minister Ingram wrapping up debate on that package of crime bills designed to break the deadly crime cycle. He says the government is willing to go further if needed. Baptist Bishop Randy Frazier back in court as his long-running unlawful sex trial winds down. The detention center declared cholera-free, so why were detainees evacuated? And compared with yesterday, today in Parliament was mild. It's Friday, October 21st. Get ready. The Bahamas Tonight starts right now.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
The government says it's come up with the right formula to deal with the violent crime wave in the country. This as parliamentarians passed that historic anti-crime package of bills. It's great to have you along this Friday. I'm Shanique Miller. This is the Bahamas Tonight National Report. The anti-crime package includes amendments to the Penal Code, Bail Act, Court of Appeal Act, Evidence Act, Criminal Procedure Code Act, Firearms Act, Dangerous Drugs Act, Customs Management Act, Sexual Offences Act, the Pawnbrokers and Second-Hand Dealers Act, and the Criminal Evidence and Anonymity Act. Prime Minister Ingram says if these measures do not yield the desired results, the government will come up with even stiffer penalties to ward off crime. Janea Noel has more on the Prime Minister's address as he wrapped up debate in the House of Assembly last night.
The nation has literally been crippled with the sickness of crime. With the country recording over 100 murders for the year, Prime Minister Hubert Ingram believes that he has found the remedy. And if it doesn't work, he is prepared to up the ante of punishment for criminals.
On this day, this is the medicine we deem appropriate. We think it's going to have the desired effect on the society. We are convinced that it is constitutional. If the measures that we are doing today do not result in a significant change, we will increase the dosage.
As he wrapped up debate on the Criminal Witness and Anonymity Bill, Prime Minister Hubert Ingram said never in his 64 years did he think he would have to bring this type of bill to Parliament. But circumstances have changed.
I never dreamt this. No horror dream I could have had that could have told me I would come to Parliament and say, I want to have an opportunity for a witness to be able to testify against someone and for them not to know who the witness is at all. In my 64 years on this earth, from the time I have memory, I know that the accuser is supposed to face the accused.
He recalled 19 criminal cases where witnesses have either been murdered, harmed, or threatened, and said this class of criminals have changed our way of life.
All of these people have to be provided with assistance from the state and resources. So instead the police try to apprehend criminals, we've got to find policemen to baby mind people who are testifying about crimes. These people have got families, they got friends, they all know it. So how comfortable are they going to be in coming forward to testify when they see something?
And the overwhelming concern with the obvious backlog of cases will also be addressed.
We'll take further steps to deal with that. There's also a suggestion that, well, you have too many junior counsels going on to prosecute. Well, the Office of the Attorney General will be empowered to hire private lawyers who are senior and others to prosecute cases. Every resource that's required will be made available. And all we expect is for all sides, including the judiciary, to do our job.
As this bill is on its way to becoming law, Prime Minister Hubert Ingram appealed to persons to step forward with information in confidence, knowing their identity will be protected. Janea Noel, ZNS News.
As for the Firearms Amendment Act and the Dangerous Drugs Amendment Act, the Prime Minister says these pieces of legislation will make it difficult for criminals to survive.
Drugs have become very prevalent in the society, Mr. Speaker. and it, together with guns, are helping to fuel the crime wave we are experiencing in the society. So I say to those persons who are in that business, we are serious. And no more 12 months, no more fines. It is jail and confiscation of anything that could be found to have been acquired from the proceeds of drugs. It is expected that shortly a second court will be established for gun-related crimes, and a second court will be established for drug-related crimes.
Now, that one-month gun amnesty still has a ways to go before it comes to an end. Last night, Prime Minister Ingram appealed to anyone in possession of an unlicensed firearm to turn them in on or before November 3rd.
You are convicted after that time for illegal possession. You will go to prison for a minimum of 4 years, 4 calendar years. Not a fine, not 8 months to the year, 4 long years. And the law has now also been amended to say that the occupier of a vehicle and a boat, private boat, can be presumed to be guilty of the offense unless they can show that they had no knowledge or were not in possession of the item. So no longer just a house, it's also a car and a boat and a plane. It's all of them.
A number of parliamentarians debated the Criminal Evidence Witness Anonymity Bill. Many agreed that the bill was a difficult one and that a balance must somehow be achieved to protect the rights of defendants and witnesses. Kennedy MP Kenyatta Gibson said the bill is evening the score for witnesses where it is apparent that their safety will be jeopardized. However, he said it will only be used in those extreme cases.
We live in a society where criminals sometimes have vast resources and unlimited malice. Witnesses to crimes have much to fear in our present environment. We all know of the numerous cases in which criminals have mowed down witnesses as if life, justice, and the rule of law count for nothing. Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, this legislation seeks to level the playing field.
Golden Gate's MP Shane Gibson, while supporting the bill, said other measures must be implemented, including increased training for members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force due to the amendments to the bill. Gibson said undoubtedly the prison will soon become overcrowded.
Speaker, I have yet to hear any plans by the side opposite of plans to build or extend the remand center or prison, as the war against crime must be waged in an aggressive manner and will result in an increased number of criminals arrested and detained through bail refusal.
Meantime, Kwesi Thompson, the Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge and Deputy Speaker of the House, had some concerns about the bill aimed at protecting witnesses. Thompson said the fact that witnesses are being threatened and killed is a reality, but we must examine the competing interest in the Constitution.
The accused has a right to confront his witnesses, to confront those persons giving evidence against him. But a witness who has an obligation to participate in the process, and in some cases, witnesses can be compelled to participate in the process. So if the witness has an obligation, and the witness also has a right to security, he has a right to security, and he has a right to be protected under the law. So when we examine the bill, I make the case that we ought to examine the bill taking into account the two interests.
The House of Assembly has adjourned until next Wednesday. During that time, members are expected to deal with the Road Traffic Amendment Act and the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Number 2. Well, the government signing a $40 million contract with a China-based firm to build a new bridge and port in North Abaco. That signing taking place at the Ministry of Finance on Cable Beach today, with Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Works, Colin Higgs, and Regional Director of the China Harbor Engineering Company, Zhong Dong. The project will be financed by China's Export-Import Bank at a cost of $6.5 million. The Little Abaco Bridge will replace the current causeway across Angel Fish Creek, connecting Little Abaco to Great Abaco. Higgs says the new bridge will also have a dual benefit for fishermen and the environment.
North Abaco, one of the primary drivers of the economy is fishing, primarily lobster and conch fishing. So the opening of the causeway for the fishing vessels, and most of the fishing vessels are small 16, 18-foot dinghy outboard engine-powered vessels. This will be a great asset to them because they do fish on either side of Abaco.
Construction on the bridge will begin in December and should be finished by February 2013. A new North Abaco international and domestic port will be built at Conch Rock Creek. The $33.4 million port will serve as an alternative to the existing Marsh Harbor port. It will also include construction of an administration building and warehouses for both international and domestic cargo, as well as marine facilities for pleasure and fishing boats. Construction is also set to begin in December to be completed November 2013. Tang says he looks at both projects as the beginning of more good partnerships to come.
Today we are of great pleasure to sit here for the signing of the contract, and great thanks to the government of Bahamas for inviting China Harbor and providing an opportunity to China Harbor to render our service. I should say the signing the contract today, it is just a start of the real works, and we commit hereby to render our best service in implementation of this contract.
And earlier today, Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs Tommy Turnquest hosted His Excellency Jie Qing of the People's Republic of China to a private lunch. Turnquest welcomed the Chinese minister and his delegation to the country while thanking him for China's continued economic and technical cooperation.
Our two countries have conducted fruitful exchanges and cooperation in the political, economic, cultural, and educational fields. We have also supported each other and enjoyed close cooperation in international affairs, and the Bahamas looks forward to continuing its cooperation with China in addressing global issues at the multilateral level. Minister, we owe a great debt of gratitude to your government, the government of the People's Republic of China, for the assistance it has provided to the Bahamas in many different areas. Bahamians have benefited greatly from China's generous spirit through scholarships, training courses, and technical cooperation.
The Chinese Foreign Affairs Minister stated that earlier in the day he had a very productive meeting with His Excellency Sir Arthur Folkes and Prime Minister Ingram. Jie Qing says he's confident that both countries have come to a consensus that they will further enhance their economic relationship. The Chinese minister says the frequent high-level visits of high-ranking Chinese government officials to the Bahamas bodes well for future success in this relationship.
And I'm looking forward to the day when we have a grand opening ceremony of the stadium, which we do believe will bring lots of happiness and joy to the great audience here in this beautiful country. I think that all countries, big or small, rich or poor, strong or weak, should treat each other as equals